Meanwhile, in stately Wayne Manor.
Happy Saturday. I hope your weekend is off to a great start. Here it is Superhero Saturday, and another Build the Batmobile episode is coming at you on Brickscale Studio. Welcome to Brickscale Studio. My name is Jeff. Thank you so much for joining me today. So as I mentioned in the introduction, we are working on another 2 issues of the 1966 Batmobile. So just like last week's episode, this is another short and sweet. In the 2 issues that we're doing, we don't have a whole lot of parts. We're getting into some electric components, so that is exciting, though we won't have enough things to test anything today, but let's get into the build and then we can talk about it after.
And in the Batcave, deep below stately Wayne Manor.
Right here is issue 53. And let's see, yeah, we're still in season 2. And it looks like we get a battery box and a switch. So we're starting in some more electrics. I remember we had the bat beacon and everything in the roll bar like very early on, and then we've had no more electrics since then. So there's the parts for issue 53. And again, they are always changing it up. The screws are in the tray. All right, so we have the battery box and a switch. So let's get our instructions here. All right, so we need to bring the car back. Yeah, we need to put it this way here. All right. So here is our switch, and it is going to go right here. Just get this untangled. All right, there we go. Yeah, there's nothing that says on or off, so it doesn't really matter, I guess, which way. But that's going to go in just like this. And that's going to go in with 2 CM screws. All right, perfect. And then now we're going to put the battery box right behind it here. So there we have the battery box. And that is going to go right there. And again, this one is going in with CP screws. And on this one, you're screwing into plastic, and the battery box is plastic, so don't want to go crazy and crack the little brackets that hold it on there. And in the last episode, I forgot to mention that on these wheel wells, you're screwing into metal, but the well itself is plastic, so don't over-tighten and break those. Okay. And that is it for issue 53. So we have a switch and a battery box, and we got issue 54. So season 2, episode 54. All right, so it looks like we have the battery box cover, a speaker, and a speaker bracket. So there are instructions there, and all right, perfect. So there are the parts. All right, so here we have our speaker bracket, and the battery box cover. So let me set these over here and see how they want us to orient that. All right. So just like so. So here is the speaker. And we want to put this right in there. And then this bracket is going to hold it in. And that is going in with, once again, CM screws. So remember the CM, the M at the end is we're screwing into metal. However, the bracket is plastic. So again, you don't want to go super tight and crack the bracket. So just be careful. All right, there is one side. And there is the other side. So we've got that in. And then now we just need to flip the car over. And we will put our battery box cover on. And that is it for issue 54. All right, so let's move on to the Lego side. All right, here we are on the Lego side. So remember, we started this component in the last episode. So in this episode, we're going to finish this one and start on the exact same thing, but for the other side of the car. So let's get into steps 157 through 162. Okay, that is through 162. So we finished this side and installed it. And we got to start on the other side, so we will finish that up in the next episode. All right, let's recap. All right. So on the Lego side, we got one of the headlights installed, and we started working on the other side. And then for the scale model, we got the battery box, the switch, the speaker, and then underneath we got the battery box cover. So that is where we are at the end of issue 27. That was issue 53 and 54. So again, like I said, not a whole lot of parts. We've definitely had more parts in prior episodes, and especially toward the beginning of the build. And like I said, not to sound like a broken record, I think that is intentional. They give you sort of a lot of stuff to do in the beginning to get you all hyped up, and then now we're sort of in that mid-season lull where they're kind of stretching it out because we're going to 120 issues and we're at 54 right now. So today we only got, well, let's do our summary and find out the total count. So for the scale model side, we completed 4 steps and used 5 parts, so a little better than last week. For the Lego side, 6 steps and 9 parts, so total to date 269 steps and 306 parts for the scale model, and 334 steps and 843 parts for the Lego. All right, so again, like I said, the 2 builds, even though we're doing completely different things on them, they are coinciding in that we have low part counts for both the scale model and the Lego. Again, it's so weird. In previous episodes, sometimes on the Lego side, we've had 30 or 40 parts per episode, and yeah, last week we had 10, and this week we had 9. Same thing with the scale model. I think we've had, like 20, 25 parts sometimes, and yeah, the last couple we've had 3, 5. So today we got the battery box, the switch, and the speaker, but we don't have a circuit board or anything to make them work. So we can't test anything out this week. Hopefully in the next week or two, we'll have enough components because we have more electric stuff coming in the next couple of weeks. But of course, Tuesday we have Optimus Prime coming up. So I believe in last week's Prime episode, we did the feet. Now we're going to be working on building up the legs. So Thursday we have a Titanic episode coming up, which after the previous week, which was a crazy episode, this week's coming up episode is pretty chill. So definitely stay tuned for that. And that build, we are literally kind of the opposite, although we're not as far along as we are in the Batmobile, but we're still doing a lot of parts per episode on the Titanic, and we do get into some lighting and some testing on the Titanic, so definitely tune into that. And definitely check out our website, brickscalestudio.com. We've got links to all our YouTube videos, plus we've got a store with some new and used Lego sets for sale. And there's an opportunity to sign up for our newsletter, which we'll be launching this fall. So definitely check that out. And until we see each other again, remember, like, share, subscribe. It really helps the channel, and it gets those subscriber numbers closer to our goals so we can give away more free Lego. And until we see each other again, happy building, take care, be kind to each other, and I'll see you soon.